three primary places of Krishna's pastimes. And one of them is Vrindavan, and then next is Mathura, and next is Dwarka. The timetable is Krishna spent 10 years, 8 months, 10 years, 8 months in Vrindavan. And just before he turned 11 is when he went to Mathura. And he remained in Mathura until he was around 35. And when he left, Mathura, he went to Dwarka. Do you know why he left Mathura to go to Dwarka? There's one main reason, besides, he wanted to be in Dwarka. It was marrying Rukmini. Did you know that? 17 times. Jarasandha, who really had it in for Krishna, the king of Magadha, he amassed massive armies, so many Akshohini divisions of soldiers, etc., etc., and he decided he wanted to destroy Krishna. 17 times. He brought massive armies. It was convenient for Krishna, because one of the principal reasons for Krishna's appearance was Vinashaya Chaduskritam, to annihilate the demoniac kings, the Mother Earth. This is in preparation for Janmashtami. Mother Earth, in the form of a cow, had gone to the demigods. Help! The earth is too much overburdened with demoniac kings. Help! The demigods went to Lord Brahma. Help! Brahma took the demigods and Mother Earth to the shore of the Milk Ocean. Offered Purusha Sukta prayers. The Lord responded in such a manner that Brahma could hear, and he explained the reason that they had come. Help! One of our principal planets in this Bhumandala realm, we're in Swarga, but the Bhumandala realm, Mother Earth is overburdened with too many demoniac kings. Help! So he said he would help. And he appeared. And before he appeared, Balarama appeared. And they both appeared, there's details and details, so they both appeared in Vrindavan, where they stayed and performed their childhood pastimes, and then went to Mathura. But too many demoniac kings, so Jarasandha very kindly brought the demoniac kings, so Krishna could annihilate them. 17 times. Except he annihilated every last soldier except one, Jarasandha. Jarasandha, you can go home now. Boy, was he embarrassed. He wanted revenge. He got a bigger army next time, bigger army next time. The 18th time, there's a very nice description. Very nice description. Jarasandha, buddied up with another king from the north. Who was that other king from the north? Kalyavana. So Kalyavana came from the north. Jarasandha came from the east, converging on Mathura. So what did Krishna do? You know what Krishna did? He ran. But he had a purpose. He ran to a cave where Muchukunda was. And Muchukunda had this benediction that anybody comes and disturbs my sleep in this cave, they're a pile of ashes. So that's what happened. Kalyavana thought, aha! Krishna, he was too exhausted. He fell asleep in the cave and he kicked him. It was Muchukunda. Muchukunda opened his eyes, and from his eyes came fire, and from the fire, Kalyavana was a pile of ashes in the cave. One down and one to go. Of course, there was the rest of Kalyavana's army, and then there's Jarasandha and Jarasandha's army. And so big battle, big battle. But Krishna had a plan. And Krishna's plan was, before this 18th time that Jarasandha came, there was a letter that came from Rukmini. Her father is Bhishmaka. And her father, Rukmini's father, wanted Rukmini to marry Krishna, but her brother didn't. Her brother had two friends, Jarasandha and Shishupal. Bad association. Don't hang out with Jarasandha or Shishupal, because if you're a good person, you become a bad person by bad association. And he was into not Krishna. So he told his sister, he one-upped his father and said, I want you to marry Shishupal. Shishupal? No way. Shishupal. So she decided, she's a princess. She had royal privileges. She wrote Krishna a love letter. Dear Krishna, you're this and you're that and you're this and you're that, and I you're the only person I want to marry. If you are very kind and accept, then I'll become your faithful wife. And it's difficult because there's a wedding planned. And I'm not allowed to go outside the palace. But on the wedding day, I'll go outside the palace. So here's what you can do if you agree. She wrote this letter. The messenger took the letter to Krishna. Krishna heard the messenger deliver the letter. He understood right away. He's in Mathura, and he left Mathura to marry Rukmini. But he had to have a place where they could stay. So he had Vishwakarma build Dwarka. It was just as an island in the middle of the sea, and there was nothing. And he built a magnificent place. He's Vishwakarma, the architect of the demigods. So if you agree, here's what you can do. And it's at a certain time during the wedding ceremony, we won't be married yet. I'll go outside, not only outside the palace, but outside the palace wall, because the family deity is out there. And if you come on a chariot, then I can go with you, and you can take me with you, and I won't have to marry that Shishupal. I'll only marry you if you consent. So Krishna liked the idea. So that's why he left Mathura to go marry Rukmini. And the letter even said, when you come, bring all your soldiers. And if people ask you, why are you bringing all the soldiers? Well, I came to attend a wedding. But there's going to be a fight when you take me away, so your soldiers should be ready. But his chief soldiers, Balaram, he took care of half the battle. So exactly according to her plan, when she went to go see the family deity, up comes Krishna's chariot and elegantly invites her to come on his chariot, and zoom, off he goes. And all the soldiers, Shishupal and her brother Rukmi, in a mad chase, get him, arrest him. And she's concerned. She's, they've got all these soldiers following behind us, and I'm just this young lady. And Krishna said, don't worry, your soldiers will take care of this. Now it's not just his shoulders, but her soldiers. And they flattened a whole army. And Balaram personally took on Krishna. Krishna took on Rukmi, broke his sword, broke his shield, grabbed him, tied him up, and was ready to cut off his head. And Rukmini said, no, he's my brother. Don't cut off his head. Krishna smiled. So he gave him a haircut and cut off part of his mustache and beard and totally humiliated him. Okay, you can go now. As he had done with Jarasandha. He went, but he was like, I've been humiliated. So he gave up his palace. He created another palace with the vow that he told all of his buddies. Shishupal and Jarasandha both tried to pacify him. It was just one of those things. You weren't ready. He took ill advantage of you. Don't worry. We'll get him. That kind of talk. Chivalrous talk. So he built another city, making two vows. I won't enter my city, Kundina, until 1, I arrest Krishna, and 2, I bring my sister back. Take my sister away from her husband. So Krishna went and married Rukmini in Dwarka. That's why he left Mathura. So now we're in, Krishna and Balaram are in Dwarka. All of that was just to tell you why they're in Dwarka. So chapter 67, they're in Dwarka. And there was a fellow named Dvivida, and he headed in for Krishna too. He headed in for Krishna big time, in part because Krishna destroyed one of his buddies, Narakasura. And he wanted revenge. Materialists get into stuff like that, revenge. So here's how it begins. The glorious King Parikshit said, I wish to hear further about Sri Balaram, the unlimited and immeasurable Supreme Lord, whose activities are all astonishing. What else did he do? Because Shukadeva has just finished narrating how Balaram had visited Vrindavan, and with his plow he was pulling the Yamuna River. Chapter 65. And after chapter 65 came chapter 66, another Balaram story, killing of Paundraka. And this is while Balaram was in Vrindavan, so that's chronological. And then Parikshit now wants to hear what else did he do? He's very powerful, very interesting pastimes. Shukadev replies, there was an ape named Dvivida, who was a friend of Narakasura's. This powerful Dvivida, the brother of Minda, had been instructed by King Sugriva during Ram's Leela. So that's a long time ago. Some of you know, we all know some math. How many how many how many manus are there in a day of Brahma? 14, 14, 14 manus. And each manu lives or rules for a duration of 1,000 yuga cycles. Excuse me. No. 14 manus live for 1,000 yuga cycles. So you divide 14 into 1,000, that's how many yuga cycles they rule during the 1,000 yuga cycles. Something like 71 or something like that. So Krishna appears in Manu number 7. This is math. If you don't get the math, it's okay. Manu number 7 is Vaivasvata Manu. And during the 28th yuga cycle of Vaivasvata Manu is when Krishna appears. He's very regulated. And he appears during Dwarpa Yuga of that 28th yuga cycle. And when does Ramachandra appear? He also appears during the reign of Vaivasvata Manu, but the 24th yuga cycle. So 24th yuga cycle, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th. That's a lot of time. And so during Ramachandra's pastimes, there were two brothers, Dvivida and Minda, and they were assisting Sugriva during Ram's Leela. And they lived a long time. They're Chiranjivas. That category means they live long time. So that same Dvivida was around during Krishna's pastimes, from the time of Ramachandra's pastimes. To avenge the death of his friend Narakasura, a few chapters ago, the ape Dvivida intended to destroy Krishna's flourishing kingdom. It was get-back mentality. He ravaged the nearby land, setting fires that burned cities, villages, mines, and cowherd dwellings. So he was a mean guy. So here's a little bit of the background of Dvivida. And in the front row, there's Ramachandra. They're crossing the ocean. And behind him is Lakshmana. And to the left and to the right, you see those two big apes. One's Minda and the other's Dvivida. And they were brothers because they were both sons of the Ashvini Kumaras. The Ashvini Kumaras, when it was time for Ramachandra's appearance, there was the command to the demigods, you create offspring on earth. So this demigod created this offspring, that demigod, that offspring, and so on. The sun god, the moon god, so forth and so on and so on. Vayu, the father of Hanuman. Oh, come on. So, Dvivida and Minda were sons of the Ashvini Kumaras. And their service was, they were ministers to Sugriva. They were powerful warriors, but they were ministers to Sugriva. And then when Sugriva and Ram joined forces, they were very dedicated to Lord Ramachandra. However, no, we're not going to do the however yet. So both of them, Minda and Dvivida, were sent by Sugriva to go in the southerly direction because the Vanaras split up in 4 directions. And the son of Sugriva, not the son of Sugriva, the son of Vali, went in the southerly direction. And he had with him Hanuman and had with him Minda and Dvivida. So he is mentioned and during the battle that took place in Lanka. He's mentioned. She has a somewhat prominent role in Ram's Leela. For example, from this Kishkinda section of Ramayana. Angada is asking him, who can travel all these yojanas to get to the other side of in Lanka? The foremost of all the monkeys began declaring their jumping skills. Gaja, I can jump 80 miles. Wow. Gavaksha, I can jump 160 miles. Double. Minda said, I'm capable of jumping a full 480 miles. I don't know how they measured that, but they're doing yojanas. The Dvivida, I can undoubtedly jump 560 miles. So he was a good jumper. And he was present, just the main point is he's present. And Dvivida is also mentioned along with other demon associates of Kamsa. So this is fast forward some yuga cycles. Shukadeva Goswami said, now this is back chapter 2 of Canto 10, way towards the beginning of Canto 10. Under the protection of Magadendra Jarasandha, the powerful Kamsa began persecuting the kings of the Yadu dynasty. In this, he had the cooperation of demons like Pralambabaka Chanura, Trinavarta, Agasura, Mushtikat, Arishta, Dvivida's name is mentioned, etc. Narakasura and many other demoniac kings on the surface of the earth. Their mission, harass, persecute, destroy. So, question. Maybe some of you know the answer to this question. How did he become corrupted? And the answer given twice is he offended Lakshmana. And the offense to Lakshmana was, as you see in the painting, when here's kneeling with a club by his side, that's Hanuman. Hanuman is introducing Ram and Lakshman to Sugriva, that's where he's wearing the crown, and the other Vanras up on top of Rishamukh mountain. And they're shaking hands and making a friendship. And right behind him, there's two, Mindra and Dvivida. And Dvivida advised Sugriva, don't pay attention to other fellow. Pay attention to Ram. He's the important one. And the other one isn't so important, just don't pay attention to him. No, that's an offense. In common dealings between one individual and another individual, you don't speak like that. But that's impolite. And the offense is because Lakshman is the representative of Ram. That means he's the guru figure in the relationship between Ramachandra and all of his devotees. That's Lakshmana. He's the guru figure. And you offend the guru, you've got a problem. You offend Lakshmana, you got a problem. So he offended Lakshmana. He did it again later. That was offense number 1. Offense number 2, when the Shakti Shela weapon had penetrated the chest of Lakshmana, he's lying on the ground, unconscious, and Dvivida starts to criticize him. What kind of hero are you? Get up. You got everybody fuss budgeting over you, and you're getting pity. Yeah, okay, but you're not a hero. He was speaking in very condemning tones about Lakshmana. So offense number 2. And one who offends a Vaishnava, you can have some problems. And the problem in his case manifested the form of unfavorable association. The unfavorable association that came later was Narakasura. In Narakasura's association, he became corrupted. So a good person with bad association can become corrupted. That's why it's not a strange thing. Parents are concerned. Who do their kids hang out with? Because a good kid can become a bad kid by bad association. So good kids should pick good association too, but be cautious about the unwholesome kind, because good can become corrupted. And when the corruption happens, then uncontrolled anarthas. And that's what happened to Dvivida. And he circles back to make further offenses and further offenses and further offenses. And they get, my father's expression was, you're digging your hole deeper. Here's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comment. Though Dvivida was a minister of the great devotee Sugriva and an associate of Lord Ramachandra, he became corrupted by the bad association of Naraka, which caused anarthas to rise in him. This bad association was the reaction of an offense he committed when he disrespected Lakshmana, due to being proud of his strength. Pride. Something to be cautious about. The minded and Dvivida mentioned here are actually the eternally liberated devotees. Eternally liberated devotees, addressed as attendant deities. There's a nice term for it, attendant deities. Vanara something, I forget the term. Attendant deities during the worship of Lord Ramachandra. The Lord arranged their degradation to show the evil of bad association that results from offending great personalities. The fall down of Dvivida and Minda can be compared to that of Jai and Vijay. In other words, compared to Jai and Vijay means it's exceptional. It's not the rule. The rule is you don't fall. But to teach a lesson, Jai and Vijay fell, and to teach a lesson, Minda and Dvivida fell. Here's Jiva Goswami in his commentary. Minda and Dvivida are two forms, here's the word, avarana. Two forms worshipped as avarana deities, who worship Rama as Nitya Siddhas, dwelling in the Lord's eternal abode in Vaikuntha, in Ayodhya, in the spiritual world. That's where they are. They appeared as sons of the Ashwini Kumaras, but that's who they were in the spiritual world. Exceptional. Then Jiva Goswami writes, some jivas who are endowed with some of the Shakti of eternal associates like Minda and Dvivida, and are called by the same name, help Ram or other avatars when they appear on earth. These jivas can become corrupted. For example, Dvivida associated with Narakasura, who hated the Lord. This occurs because the mortal jiva, Dvivida, was mixed with elements of the material world. Although a jiva invested with some of a Nitya Siddha's powers. So it's a very unique situation, like Jai and Vijay. It's very unique. And there's some details that are a little difficult to fully understand, but Jiva Goswami is writing in this way. The Minda and Dvivida mentioned in this verse are persons endowed with their Shakti because they did not respect Lakshmana. Like Jai and Vijay, they appeared as demons in order to show the result of committing offenses. So that's the backstory. Now here we are again. Once Dvivida tore up a number of mountains and used them to devastate all the neighboring kingdoms, especially the province of Anartha, which is not the same as Anartha. Just a detail. Prabhupada named one of his female disciples Anartha, and she was shocked. So she didn't ask at the time of her initiation, but later she asked. So Prabhupada explained, it's a kingdom just outside of Dwarka where great saintly persons resided. It's a sacred place. So Dvivida went to that sacred place and made a mess, purposely, wherein dwelt his friend's killer, Lord Hari. Another time he entered the ocean and with the strength of 10,000 elephants churned up its water with his arms and thus submerged the coastal regions. And of course, Dwarka is a coastal region. So he was a powerful person. Technology is great when it works. It's not showing properly on my screen either. So what'd you do? No signal. Should I unplug it and plug it again? So back to the story, and maybe the picture will come on in a moment. It's just booting. Yes? Okay, well, so Dvivida. So this province of Anarta, which is one of the surrounding areas around Dwarka, that's where he hung out and did this and did that, went to the sea, and the coastal regions were submerged in water. The wicked ape and contaminated their sacrificial files with its feces and urine. It's something very similar to what's the name of the first demon that Ramchandra and Lakshmana killed? They were doing some similar thing. What? Yeah. And yeah, yes. Yeah, yes. So they were doing something similar, disrupting the offerings of the sages. So he had the same program. You're not getting to see some nice images of this fellow. You want me to do it again? Unplug and plug. Unplug. I did it already, but we'll do it again. No problem. Look at that. Magic. So there's one image. Here's another image. Got a big club on over his shoulder. Just as a wasp imprisoned smaller insects, he arrogantly threw both men and women into caves in a mountain valley and sealed the caves shut with boulders. Powerful. Vishnu Purana describes this also. Dvivida, taking a huge form at will, looted and destroyed all the crops in the kingdom by going around and smashing them. Anything to create a disturbance in Krishna's land. Once, this looks like a, what do you call it? Stop signal. I don't know what it is. Once, while Dvivida was thus engaged in harassing the neighboring kingdoms and polluting women of respectable families, he heard sweet singing coming from Raivataka mountain. So he went there. Sweet singing. Guess who? There he saw Balaram, the lord of the Yadus, adorned with a garland of lotuses and appearing most attractive in every limb. Of course, he's got his two, plow and club, both. And he was engaged in rasa dance. He was singing amongst a crowd of young women, including Revati, one of his wives. And since he had drunk Varuni liquor, his eyes rolled. Varuni is a type of honey. And honey's nice, but you take too much honey and it's like you become intoxicated. His body shone brilliantly as he behaved like an elephant in rut. Elephant in rut. I had to look it up what that means. It's when their male elephant or the female elephant become sexually excited, and that there's something that comes from their temple, and it's a very strong smelling substance, and it's very sweet smelling substance. The indication is they're sexually excited. The mischievous ape climbed a tree branch and then revealed his presence by shaking the trees and making the sounds like kila kila, shaking the branches of the tree and making this loud noise, and he wanted Balaram's attention. It worked. When Balaram's consorts saw the ape's impudence, they began to laugh. They were, after all, young girls who were fond of joking and prone to silliness. So then there's this confrontation. And he's looking really mean. And they're not just silly, they're laughing, they're worried. Even as Lord Balaram looked on, Dvivida insulted the girls by making odd gestures with his eyebrows and coming right in front of them and showing them his anus. Not a nice fellow. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, he ridiculed the ladies by walking in a funny way, moving his eyebrows and making odd gestures, standing directly in front of them and urinating. He disrespected Balaram by not even glancing at him. So he's being very insulting on purpose. Angered, Lord Balaram, the best of fighters, hurled a rock at him. And then the commentary says it wasn't his club because in the previous life he was a devotee, so he didn't want to club him. But the cunning ape dodged the rock and grabbed the Lord's pot of liquor. Now he's really going to get in trouble. Further infuriating Balaram by laughing and by ridiculing him, wicked Dvivida then broke the pot and offended the Lord even more by pulling at the girl's clothing. Thus, this powerful ape, puffed up with false pride, continued to insult Lord Balaram. He's going to get it. Lord Balaram saw the ape's rude behavior and thought of the disruptions he had created in the surrounding kingdoms. Thus the Lord angrily took up his club and his plow weapon, having decided to put his enemy to death. Mighty Dvivida also came forward to do battle, uprooting a sal tree with one hand. He rushed toward Balaram and struck him on the head with a tree trunk. Dvivida's a powerful guy. But Lord Sankarshan remained as motionless as a mountain and simply grabbed the log as it fell upon his head. He then struck Dvivida with his club, named Sunanda. Prabhupada named one of his disciples Sunanda. Nice devotee. He's a good kirtan player. A very nice person. Struck on the skull by the Lord's club, Dvivida became brilliantly decorated by outpour of blood like a mountain beautified by red oxide. Ignoring the wound, Dvivida uprooted another tree, stripped it of its leaves by brute force, and struck the Lord again. Now enraged, Lord Balaram shattered the tree into hundreds of pieces, upon which Dvivida grabbed yet another tree and furiously hit the Lord again. This tree, too, the Lord smashed into hundreds of pieces. Battle. Thus fighting the Lord, who again and again demolished the trees he was attacked with, Dvivida kept on uprooting trees from all sides until the forest was left treeless. The angry ape then released a rain of stones upon Lord Balaram, but the wielder of the club easily pulverized them all. Dvivida, the most powerful of apes, now clenched his fists. At the end of his palm tree-sized arms, came before Lord Balaram and beat his fists against the Lord's body. Big mistake. The furious lord of the Yadavs then threw aside his club and plow, and with his bare hands hammered a blow upon Dvivida's collarbone. The ape collapsed, vomiting blood. So this is discussed in other places. One of the places it's discussed is Gopal Champu. You know what is Gopal Champu? This young sadhu behind you. You know what Gopal Champu is? It's a commentary by Jiva Goswami on Krishna's pastimes. There's the two parts, in Vrindavan and out of Vrindavan. So it's commentary by Jiva Goswami summarizing the pastimes with different details. So the book, the structure of the book is these two fellows, Snigdhakanta, Madhukanta. So one of their brothers, and one's asking questions, the other's giving answers. It's a question-answer format, and he's narrating. Madhukanta is narrating. Understanding that Dvivida was an associate of Ram, Balaram tolerated everything. When Dvivida showed impetus 1,000 times, Balaram killed him. Though he killed him, I think he was merciful, for he liberated him from the various offenses. So there's the end of Dvivida. When he fell, O tiger of the Kurus, Raivataka mountain shook, along with its cliffs and trees, like a wind-tossed boat at sea. And near this place in Raivataka mountain is where one of his wives, Revati, came from. Balaram married Revati, daughter of King Raivata, also known as Kukudmi, who was the ruler of this Anarta province that Dvivida was making a mess in, which is very near to Dwarka. Raivataka mountain was within King Raivata's province. So it's not at this particular time he married Revati, but it happened. You know, I'll tell the little story. The little story is the king, Raivata, had a very qualified daughter, Revati. He was the king of a province known as Kukudmi. So he decided he wanted to go ask Lord Brahma, who would be a suitable husband for his daughter. He understood she was exceptionally gifted. So he the king, Raivata, or the king of the Kukudmi province, went all the way to Brahmaloka. However, when he got there, Brahma was engaged in hearing a Gandharva concert. So he just had to wait. And he waited, and he waited, and he waited. Eventually the Gandharva concert was over. And then he had he was invited by Lord Brahma. Yes, what can I do for you? And he introduced his daughter and said, she's a super eligible, qualified young lady. I'd like to find a suitable husband. And so Brahma he smiled, the way the narration goes. He smiled and then he laughed and said, do you know that the time differential between Brahmaloka and the earthly realm is big gap? 27 yuga cycles have passed. So when you go back, no one's going to know who you are. And you're not going to recognize anybody because it's a whole new set of everybody and everything. But here's what you can do. There's a very qualified person. His name is Balaram. And your daughter can marry Balaram. So when they went back on the word of Lord Brahma to do so, she was of the size of a different yuga. She was very tall compared to Balarama, who was very short, relatively speaking, because proportion. So he took his plow and touched his plow. This is from the Bhagavatam, 10th canto. He touched the plow on her shoulder, and she became the normal height for that age. And they became husband and wife. Revati, one of his wives. In the heavens, the demigods, perfect mystics, and great sages cried out, victory to you, obeisances to you, excellent, well done, and showered flowers on Balaram, because Dvivida was a bad guy. Having thus killed Dvivida, who disturbed the whole world, the Supreme Lord freed the people imprisoned by Dvivida in the valleys and caves. Remember, he put them in caves in different places, and returned to his capital as the people along the way chanted his glories. And then there's this little description from Srimad Bhagavatam about liberation. A few more slides and we're all done. All the demoniac personalities, is a long list, who were killed, either with the Lord Hari directly or with him under the names of Baladev, Arjuna, Bhima, etc. All the demons thus killed would attain either the impersonal Brahmajyoti or his personal abode in the Vaikuntha planets. Now this is Bhaktivedanta Purport from Canto 2, Chapter 7. And here's some further description. We're almost done. You see, this is Balabhadra Stotra Kavacha. And you see in big letters, Dvivida Prahari. So it's a verse glorifying Balaram. All these verses are glorifying Balaram. May Lord Balaram, who is the enemy of Dhenukasura, always protect me from lust. May Lord Balaram, who killed Dvivida, always protect me from anger. May Lord Balaram, who is the enemy of Balvala, always protect me from greed. May Lord Balaram, who is the enemy of Jarasandha, always protect me from illusion. And there's a number of prayers glorifying Lord Balaram. Dvivida Prahari. He is the killer of Dvivida. And here's Balaram from the Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan. And there's Krishna and Balaram in Vrindavan. And that's the end of this little presentation. So very involved in Krishna's intimate pastimes. He was the protector of, because he was the original spiritual master, he delivers Krishna and love for Krishna very liberally. And if Krishna is being given a hard time, as in the case of Dvivida, he does the needful. At the same time, being appropriately respectful, because at one time he was in the service of Lord Ramachandra. But, he overstepped it 1,000 times. And so he liberated him from that perilous situation. And we heard again, that's the exception to the rule because of who he eternally is situated. So the Avarana deities is not, there's not a lengthy description about this that anywhere that I could find, but it's in places where Lord Ramachandra is worshipped, where it's done in very particular style or manner. The mind of Dvivida are there. The Avarana deity is there, along with the main deity. So they're attendant to the main deity. And therefore they're important in the worship of the main deity of Ramachandra. In some places where deity worship is done. Then in the spiritual world, in Ayodhya, in the spiritual world, that they have a place there. They're Nityasiddha devotees. And they serve him in an intimate way. And they're carrying certain of the powers of the Supreme Lord to carry out the service that they do. So they're coming to this world and behaving in the way that they're behaving is for teaching a lesson. You don't mess with Lakshmana. Don't offend the representative of the personality of Godhead. You can have some problems. And the problems, we saw that little cycle. You offend the Vaishnava, and then unwanted desires you become susceptible to bad association. You're not protected. Supposing you don't do that, then you're protected. It's a nice teaching. It's an important teaching because here we are, and we don't follow the path of go to the Himalayas and leave, completely separate yourself from Kali Yuga contaminating association. Turn left, turn right, turn sideways, and just contaminating association of all types and all features. It doesn't, it doesn't take much to see the contamination without naming the names of what people do. So what's our protection? And the protection is the association of the holy name and the association of those who are chanting the holy name, the association of sadhus, sadhu sangha. It's like, it's a very nice, I'll end with this. It's a very nice teaching after Hiranyakashipu was killed by Lord Nrsingadev. Lord Nrsingadev asked Prahlad, any benediction you want, it's yours. Blank check. And he replied, don't tempt me like this. I just saw my father was so powerful. He had this opulence and that opulence, and he had this power and that power, and these followers, those followers. In a flash, it was gone. No thanks. I don't want that. So don't tempt me in that way. All I want is there's only one thing. I'm your servant. You're the master. That's it. Thank you. And then, smiling, Lord Nrsingadev says, I want you to rule in your father's place. And situate yourself in the midst of all of his opulence, and you won't be disturbed. Here's why. Because you'll always remember me, this remembrance of the personality of God. It's Vishnu Smarana, is a form of devotion. And by hearing and chanting of my glories, you'll be protected. Don't worry. I give you my assurance. So he became the king. He became married. He had a children, Virochana, one of his children, and Bali Maharaj, his grandchild. So he lived in the world, but he wasn't involved in the contaminations of the world. And similarly, any one of us. It's easy being not so elevated like Prahlad, or not so elevated like many elevated personalities, to be, impacted or infected by disease. It's easy. Then there's a protection. It's the same, getting out of the material world and returning to the spiritual world through the spiritual atmosphere. It's the same method. And the principal starting place is sound, the chanting and hearing of the message of Krishna Bhakti from Srimad Bhagavatam and the holy name. And we engage in as much hearing as we can in the quantitative and qualitative hearing. That's our elevation and that's our protection. And then comes Janmashtami. And then comes Radhastami. Just opportunity after opportunity to dive in. I don't know about all of you, but I'm already Periscope up. I'm preparing for some number of days of getting ready for Krishna Janmashtami and Krishna Janmashtami and then Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja and then turn around and do the next thing and the next thing. That's our life. Immersion in glorification and sound with deity at the center and sound at the center in the association of devotees. Any comments or question? Yeah.
I was just wondering, so you said that good people shouldn't hang out with bad association, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was wondering, then I guess like bad association would never have good association. So how does like a bad person ever become good?
Oh, you give association, but don't take it. That's the key.
Okay. Yeah.
So yes, thank you for that clarification question. It's hang out with. It's like supposing somebody has, whatever the disease that's going around these days. For a while it was COVID. Supposing somebody's got a bad COVID thing, you don't go hang out with them. You wear a mask and you keep a respectful distance. But so just a regular association, the understanding should be the modes of material nature have infected and affected everyone. So you move around in that place thinking of yourself, in what way can I be of service to Krishna in this atmosphere? What can I do with this person, that situation, something? And thought of Krishna can become stirred and awakened. And there's a lot of damaged people out there. I mean, it's just like they're in one sense they're victims, but how did they become a victim? There's something behind. There's a backstory behind how they became a victim, and now they're victimized, and they're not wholesome because they're diseased. They're carrying a disease. So what you don't run the other way, but you got your medicine bag, and you're being careful because you don't want to become infected also. But you don't want to overdo it either because then that's not going to work. People will run the other way. It won't be effective. So how to be Krishna conscious in a world that's not Krishna conscious? How to move in association of unwholesomeness when you want a wholesomeness. So make sure you have good devotee association, and then in a thoughtful way, think in terms of service, not in terms of I'm up here, they're down there, let me do something because these poor people. But in an attitude of service, they're Krishna's parts and parcels also. And somehow or another, they haven't had good association, so they're doing bad stuff. So I don't want to do bad stuff. I don't want to become infected with that disease. but what can I do? So then you're asking that mode of service question, there's options will come to your mind. Be an example. That's one thing. Give prashadam. That's another thing. Depending on what their interest is. And then you find the interest and you fan the Prabhupada's phrase, you fan the spark. Whatever that is. Like music. Oh, great. Here's some nice music. Check it out. I think you'll like it. Anyway, so whatever, fan the spark.
Thank you.
Yes. How did you see? He's behind you. You got eyes in the back of your head. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm curious. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. This was
Hold the microphone a little further from your mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. As always, it was a beautiful class. But I just want to comment that I like the way you ended the class by saying that sound in the center, deities in the center, and this is our life that we celebrate upcoming festivals, which is all around Krishna.
Hold the microphone a little further from your mouth because it's got feedback over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just wanted to thank you for that, Guru Maharaj.
Okay, I was inspired to say the right thing for one time. Anyone else?
Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for the lecture. Sorry. So the question is, you saw Dvivida fall down because he
Offended Lakshmana.
offended Lakshmana. On the other end, we see Bharat Maharaj fall down in a completely different way.
Yes.
They could not, still apples to oranges?
Yeah,
Maharaj?
it's very different. Very different. And what happened, there's a backstory. There's two categories. Now, he didn't fall from Vaikuntha, he fell from Bhava Bhakti. But he fell from Bhava Bhakti, according to the commentary, because of some past offense. It doesn't identify which offense. In this case, it does. It's Lakshmana. But it's the same principle. And so he fell from the Bhava Bhakti platform to, he made a choice, A and B. He slackened. Laxity is the word that Bhaktivinoda Thakur uses. He desisted. He stopped his devotional practice. And in its place came, doting on the deer. He just switched from spiritual to material consciousness due to a past offense. And there's consequence. There's both. There's consequence to offense. That's the exception, because generally somebody in the Bhava Bhakti stage doesn't make offense. So, but who knows? It's not identified. But consistently the acharyas say offense. Not just sin, but offense. Offense is more serious. Anything else? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I'm just wondering on these two pastimes, like Jaya and Vijaya and this and Dvivida. So I'm trying to understand, when we consider this is a leela and this is a part of their own karma or their pride, basically, right? Even though they came to participate in the pastimes of the Lord Rama, right? And even though they are showing the pride, how we can understand this?
He's giving them an opportunity to teach us a lesson. It's the exception, not the rule. And so that means that they're being moved under the indication of the supreme. Let's take another example. It's not the same, but it's similar in principle. The offense made by Parikshit Maharaj to a sage. The sage was in trance, and the king was offended because he didn't receive him properly. No, he didn't observe etiquette. What kind of sage are you? So he offended him, and there's a consequence for his offense. But they were so purposeful, inspired by the personality of Godhead, so that very quickly Parikshit could go back home, back to Godhead, and be the recipient of Srimad Bhagavatam. So when there's a purpose, the Lord can make the exception to the rule. And the exception is the exception, not the rule. You got to give a question. It won't be a complete class if you don't.
Hare Krishna. It's not related to the Balaram pastime directly, but you touched upon this today also. This is related to Queen Rukmini's marriage with Krishna. So one lesson that I took away from that was, so Rukmini disregarded his sister's will, choice, and wanted to impose his own choice on Rukmini, and that was his downfall. At least that's the takeaway that I have. So
Well, it wasn't just the choice. He was against. He had a disdain. It came out in the form of that because his father wanted what she wanted, and he wanted something else because of his disdain. So he took a certain action.
Yes. So my takeaway, at least, is
Don't be inimical to Krishna.
my takeaway is different. My takeaway is that I want to respect other people's choices.
Yeah, that's good. But especially if they're not heading off a cliff.
And this may be controversial, perhaps, but
No. You don't say controversial things.
definitely not. Even if they seem to be headed away from Krishna, that is not my
Jurisdiction.
jurisdiction or my judgment really to make. I cannot really.
You can say something, but you can't do something. Excuse me, do you see that cliff over there? You see that ditch over there? Supposing somebody's driving the car and they're falling asleep. Well, I don't want to interfere with their choices. So, say something, do something as is appropriate in a respectful way. Okay?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Because they're putting themselves and others at risk, yourself included, if they're driving and falling asleep. Okay. You have something? Yeah?
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. It was a beautiful, all the slide presentation and very wonderful lessons for us. I'm finding it little hard to frame this question, Guru Maharaj. I will try. Personally for myself, my heart is always looking to see compassion of the Lord. And that's why that question was again and again coming, that why Yamuna was dragged and all that. And I'm just somehow trying to connect the dots. Oh, this is where Lord's compassion was there. But yesterday you clarified that he was just showing her to be respectful.
Yeah.
And that is also compassion.
Yeah.
Of course.
And he has the position to do so. Not all of us have that position to do so.
Right. Yeah. And in this endeavor of trying to see the compassion, like how you helped me yesterday, I mean, to understand that. But in this journey, I I fear sometimes that I might get into some speculation which is favorable for my liking, that okay, Lord is compassionate in this way, that I'm seeing like this. But then I feel very satisfied that, oh, finally, yes, Lord is compassionate and I just want to serve him. I just don't want any disturbance that, oh, why he did that, why he did that. So, but I don't know if sometimes I might be speculating certain things and not understanding in correct ways.
So then pause, and don't go there.
But
Go,
then there is disturbance in heart.
but that's your problem. That's not the Lord's problem. No, if you don't understand and you don't speculate, you pause. You go into the mode of goodness and internally turn your attention to your relationship with Krishna, and you ask n number of questions, and then with that state of reflection and purity, then some indication, some direction may come. And if not, then so be it. Then you just stay. You stay disturbed. You stay on. I'm not. I call it put it in your parking lot. There's some things that at the moment I don't have the capacity to understand. That's okay. Goes into the parking lot. I'll just a little sharing. As a for example, one of the persons who is a little bit like me is Mother Irmela. She's like she's a school teacher type of person, and she's really fixed on clarity. I back and she'll ask me something, I'll ask her something. So it's something I asked her about 2 weeks ago. She's been with it for 2 weeks. She's busy, I'm busy, but she didn't just like it stayed in the parking lot, but she just yesterday sent me something. This is the best I can do, in a reference from Brihad Bhagavatamrita that answered the question that we were engaging in, rather than the question and the answer. It's just a principle. Be patient. The most important thing is your relationship with Krishna, and when your relationship with Krishna is clear, then there may be clarity about turn left or turn right, or what to do, what not to do, what to say, what to not say, and how to say it, and clarity can come in a certain field. And you just be patient because you're patient, because that's a mode of goodness quality. And Krishna will help you. So you say disturbed, and I say be patient.
And even though it is favorable,
Your daughters are smiling. They know you very well.
so even though it is
And they love you. Don't worry about it.
Yes, thank you. So even though it is favorable thinking, still it can be a speculation, and I should be,
You put it in the parking lot.
yeah.
Then something may come, a devotee, or something from scripture, or something. The doors might open that you didn't even know there was a door there, and the door opens, and then right behind it, you walk through that door, and there's the answer. And right at a certain point in time, you don't know.
Yeah.
So just have a place to put that I don't know concern, or issue or something, and you don't like dump it, don't trash it, but you don't obsess about it either. And don't speculate about it. Just like leave it there. It'll linger. If it's important, it's going to stick around. Yeah.
As you said, it will linger, but many times it happens that it doesn't linger, and I'm just so confident about it. Yes, it is like that. Lord is so compassionate, and he, like today I was thinking that Lord is spending so much time with Dvivida gorilla. I mean, he doesn't have to. He can just kill him in a second.
Yeah, boom.
Yeah, and I was thinking that he loves him.
Well, he understood that he, as a devotee of Lord Ramachandra, he did a lot of service for Lord Ramachandra. He made some boo-boo. He offended Lakshman. He's aware of both. But, you don't just dump him because, you know,
Yeah, so I felt that, oh, I'm very clear about it. So
okay,
I have
good.
doubts.
That's what we wanted. Congratulations.
Like Narasimhadev took Hiranyakashipu in his lap, and that was so astonishing that how could this person could touch the Lord and in his lap. So he loves him like that. So, but of course he was Jai Vijay, one of those. So that is also one of the reasons. So I don't know, Guru Maharaj, but yes, Maharaj, I understood.
You're
that.
not a scholar. That's okay. You're a devotee.
Thank you, Guru.
Srila Prabhupada. Oh, you have something.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. This is more from a learning perspective.
A journey back?
A learning.
Learning, okay.
Learning perspective as to when I'm looking at this pastime of Dvivida Gorilla, the first pastime of when he meets Lakshmana and Lord Rama,
Yeah.
and he's offending Lakshmana. Just for a moment to to speak on behalf of the gorilla for a minute. How do we reconcile this? Because at a certain level, even in our teachings, there is a certain respect given, a different kind of a respect given to Uttama Adhikari versus Madhyama Adhikari.
That's fine. That's scriptural.
Right, and so how do we? So in a way, he could be giving more respect to Lord Rama.
No,
Because of,
that's not what was going on. Nice try. It wasn't like give an appropriate level of respect because he's the junior and Ramachandra's the senior. That wasn't what was going on. Follow etiquette, Sugriva. That's not what was going on. Nice try. Really? Question number 2.
Just reflecting back on the offenses committed to spiritual master, to me it seems like being more intimate with the spiritual master, like moving in a more intimate fashion with the
That's fine.
spiritual master.
That's fine.
There's more opportunity to possibly commit
Yeah.
offenses unknowingly.
Yeah.
Then I'm also gladdened. I recollect one incident of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was saying, I know, like his devotees would say sometimes, Guru Maharaj, and he would say like, oh, you're still respecting me. So in that sense, it seems like there is a chance for me to be my own self, but there is also like a apprehension that I might be committing offenses.
So be careful. Don't stay away from your car, but drive carefully. Knowing there's risk. Even you're driving carefully. But you're driving carefully.
Thank you, Maharaj.
All the way in the back. You have something.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for the wonderful lecture. I have a question in terms of application with the daily
In
life.
terms of
itself.
what?
Daily life application. Sometimes I offend the family members, very close by people. I know sometimes I should not do it, but I hurt them knowingly. But then I say sorry. So I keep doing that multiple times a day, I guess. I don't know. So what should I do on a daily basis to
On a daily
somehow...
basis. Be as forgiving as you would like others to be forgiving of you. You like that one? You're smiling. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.